Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm speaking with Alix Heffron. He has a brand new album out. It is fantastic. It's called The Moon is Looking at Me. I'm super excited to talk to him all about it. Alex, I want to thank you so much for being here. How are you doing? What's going on?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be able to talk about this record with you today.
I'm excited to be able to talk to you all about it. Truly,
Yeah.
as I was just saying before we started recording, is like this thing is excellent. Like truly, like
Thank
you
you.
really kind of just laid everything out there. I find that even like individual songs have different tones and emotions about them, that you've still managed to create something cohesive, which is
hmm
incredibly difficult to do. Um,
Very.
a lot of these songs are instrumentals, some have lyrics, and I kind of want to kick things off here by talking about like the content of what this album is about and what it means to you.
Mhm. Well, um, when I started to really develop and create this record, I wanted it to be a sort of concept album with like a sort of narrative, a very
Sure.
loose-based narrative. Um, and it kind of developed as I was writing it. Like I planned it out. I had a rough outline, rather, of what I wanted the story to be. Um, but it really kind of grew as I was kind of developing it and writing it. But essentially, it is a very, I guess, basic is the word I would say, like kind of story about just this pretentious, very arrogant artist who just happens to stumble into a very fictitious form of insanity, of madness, if you will.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's I don't know. It like I've been asked like what are like the themes of the record before,
Sure.
and it's hard for me to put that into words. It's it's a record that I feel I've written through just a pure form of emotion, and
Okay.
yeah, so like that's kind of the I guess basis of what it means. You know what I mean?
Would you say a lot of it is up to interpretation for how people want to read the lyrics?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, cool. I
Yeah.
honestly prefer that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I
Oh
love
yeah.
listening to a record that it's like, hey, random person or artist that I don't know, here's your life
Yeah.
story. Here's the breakup song. Here's the blah,
hmm
blah, blah. But like
Right.
music that is kind of up for interpretation is special to me because I feel that
Mhm.
people might connect more to your words. If they interpret something specific, they might think that you went through something similar to what they did. And
Oh
whether
yeah.
that may be true or not, it doesn't really matter. It's all about
Mhm.
kind of just breeding that connection to the music. And I think that's really
Yeah.
important.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Nice. And
Yeah.
as for the actual sound of the record, I almost can't get over it. I'm not even joking. Because I
Thank you.
mean, for me, this is the type of music that I listen to. I listen to something
Mhm.
that isn't necessarily immediate on the first listen. And I'm not saying
Mhm.
that these songs aren't catchy. I'm just saying that the
Mhm.
more I've gone back and listened to it, the more connections that I've made, the more things I've
Mhm.
noticed. There's so much subtlety, and the production is it's just like crisp and excellent. And I know I'm totally blowing up your ego right now, and you should, and that's fine because you
Yeah.
deserve it. But
Thank
like
you.
I need to talk about the production because it
Mhm.
sounds beautiful. I would recommend anyone
Mhm.
like this isn't like a laptop speakers phone
Mhm.
listen. This is like a put on a nice pair of headphones and really like sink into it.
Yeah.
How did it all come together in the background, I suppose?
Mhm. Well, I recorded, I would say like 90% of everything in my home studio. And
Nice.
yeah, um, I shaped a lot of the sound um, at my home studio, and I recorded pretty much just right into an interface and into my DAW. I use Logic, so
Okay.
um, you can get a lot of really cool sounds there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I recorded and wrote like again 90% of it here, and then I went to um, S- SP Mixing and Mastering in Kalamazoo, which is Sam Peters.
Okay.
He's an engineer in Kalamazoo, and I just went to his home studio, and that's where we like mixed and mastered. the thing and like recorded
Sweet.
some bits here and there. Um, but really, he just like took all the sounds that I had and just like added just a little bit more to it, just to make it that
I
much better.
understand.
Yeah.
That's kind of the tough part is like you as a musician, you're extremely
Hmm.
proficient at making music. But the
Hmm.
production end of it is like it's like speaking another language almost.
Absolutely.
It's like you
Yeah. I
kind of
mean,
need another person or at least an unbiased outside observer to be like,
mhm,
hear what you're going for, but let me bring it from a 10 to an 11. And it's so
exactly.
important.
Yeah.
Um, as I was listening to this, I kind of had a tough time labeling it. And I know that
Hmm.
there's no right or
Right.
wrong answers because a lot of people
Hmm.
will listen to it and call it this or call it that.
Hmm.
How are you pitching this thing specifically?
Dude, I have no idea. I mean, like
Good
I keep,
answer.
yeah,
That's a great answer.
like I keep going back and forth with different like genres and labels, and I'm
Right.
like, I guess, you know,
And
I don't
it
know.
doesn't even matter. It really
Yeah,
doesn't even matter at the end of the day.
of
If it's
course,
its own thing, that's fine.
right, a hundred
Like
percent.
I guess when you were creating the blueprint for the whole thing, did you have a sound in mind? Did you have like this is the type of record that I want to make and this is I'm gonna get this close to it?
Not really. Like
Oh, okay.
yeah, it was like I know what kind of tone I want for the whole thing, you know, to be, but like every song was its own little journey.
Awesome.
Like for some songs I had like, oh, I really like this song and I want to emulate kind of what they were doing here. And it
Sure.
does emulate that, but it also became something else. So they all have their own little like world almost,
Yeah,
you know?
that makes
But
sense.
yeah. So like kind of planned, you know?
That's okay. Listen, honestly, like the spontaneity of making music is what makes it sound special in the end. So I
Yes.
completely understand.
Yeah.
I guess like how do you compose then? Like, does it start with lyrics? Does it start with you playing?
It starts, it really depends on the song. Like
Okay.
the second track on the record, Totter, that was just me. That was a one take type of thing. I just kind of played right at the end of In Downtown. Um, it was originally going to just be a part of In Downtown, but it was like 9 minutes long. So like
Okay.
maybe a bit too bold of a statement for the first track on the record,
Sure, sure, sure.
you know? Um, but it was just like for that one, it was just like just kind of came and I really liked it, so I kept it. But then like with like the title track, The Moon is Looking at Me, I had like the main riff, like
Yeah.
and then I just the way I composed that song was like I started from the very beginning, like the intro. I knew kind of what I wanted, and I just kind of went from left to right, you know, or left to right, whichever way.
Sure.
Um, so it really depends on the song. Like some I come up with lyrics first, some it's a riff, some it's like I have this grandiose idea of like this
Yeah.
crazy magnum opus piece or whatever,
Sure.
you know. Um, yeah, it really depends. Every song is very different.
I'm the same way. I feel like if you're too formulaic with it, then everything
Mhm.
starts to sound the same. Whereas
Very
like if you
true.
kind of like, kind of just like let it happen and let it like create its own thing, then that's where the
Mhm.
magic happens. So I don't know.
Oh yeah. Oh
Um
yeah.
in a in a similar vein, normally I kind of find this to be a cheap question, but I ask you this
Mhm.
because of the sound of the record is like
Mhm.
were you channeling any influences? Like, is there anything that you listen to in your normal day life that you're like, I want to take cues from that?
Like music wise, you mean?
Yeah, music
Yeah, yeah.
wise.
Oh yeah. I've been working on this record for like 4 years, I want to say. It's
Oh,
been a very
wow.
like,
Okay.
yeah, it's been a minute. It's been too long. Just like on and off
Get
working
it.
on it. It wasn't like
Yeah.
continuously every day. But um, I think at the time when I first started to write it, I was listening to like a lot of Frank Zappa, like just
Got it.
endless amounts. Yeah, yeah.
Fellow
Um,
Zap head.
yep, yep, exactly. But yeah, like a lot of Zappa, a lot of like I was listening to Animals by Pink Floyd like on repeat as well at
Okay.
the time.
A man of taste.
Um, yeah, thank you. Um, but yeah, definitely those two were like the biggest influences. Definitely like metal as well by Pink Floyd was
Sure.
another big one. I was definitely rotating between those two artists at the time.
I say this in like a totally non-sarcastic way, but it all
Yeah,
makes sense now.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
just I mean really just like
Hmm.
those two focal points and then kind of comparing it to what I heard,
Hmm.
it automatically feels like this person is not playing by the rules. Like
Yeah.
certain songs don't need to have certain structures in order
Hmm.
to be a song because at the end of the day
Yeah.
it's art, if you want to get really
Hmm.
deep about it, it's art, but it's
Hmm.
kind of whatever you want to do. It doesn't need to have like the traditional, verse, chorus, whatever it is. You're
Right.
just making music and it's kind of finding itself. And I think that's
Hmm.
why those specific artists are outliers
Hmm.
because they do what they want and it happens and it
Hmm.
keeps you guessing. Like for
Hmm.
me, like, don't get me wrong, I like pop music. I like a
Yeah.
good 2, 3 minute bop that's gonna get stuck in my head for a week and then I
Yeah.
throw it away. But the
Yeah.
things,
Or,
the things that I, come back to are the things that I have to uncover, the things that are growers.
hmm,
If it's too immediate for
100%.
me, then I feel like I didn't sink into it enough, or there's nothing
Hmm.
to sink into.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it all makes sense
No,
now.
yeah.
Thank you for doing that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, and you said that this thing took you years to make, which again I'm not
Hmm.
surprised, but
Hmm.
was there anything on the cutting room floor that you're like, I really like what I've made here, but I don't think it fits into the record, or did everything make it?
No, it was pretty like planned out. Like
Awesome.
I think
Okay.
the only thing that changed was that I added Totter in.
Okay.
Like instead of it being a part of in downtown, I like chopped it and like just made them like flow into
Sure.
two tracks. But yeah, everything like there wasn't like another song that I didn't add. It was like this is gonna be seven, now eight songs. Like this is what it is.
Very cool. I
Yeah.
know that you operate, at least by name, as a solo artist. Was
Uh,
this all you, or do you have like people behind you doing things instrumentally at least?
this was all me. This was like a very
Wow.
like yeah, this was a very isolated experience. Like
Yeah.
I think there was like maybe four people that helped me with this.
Okay.
Like Sam Peters, who helped me mix mix the record and was also like kind of a producer, like
Sure.
just adding different things. And then there was Ian Gorman, who works at La Luna, a recording in Kalamazoo, who mastered the record. And then an artist who I hired off like Fiverr, who
Nice.
contributed all this different art for the record. And then my friend who like is helping me make flyers and like doing different designs to like, promote it. So like it's a very small group of people, and like all the instrumentation and all the performances are all me.
Sure. I mean, it sounded like a very isolated experience making this
Hmm.
thing, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna open my door
Hmm.
years later and be like, all right,
Yeah.
hey, check this out, people. Can you make it sound
Yep.
better than it is?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. Have you had the opportunity to play live? Is that something that you do or want
Oh
to?
yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So how
Yeah. I've
does it
been
work
playing live.
then?
I mean, I've been playing live for like 6-ish years, maybe. That
Nice. Okay.
might be a little, maybe like five. And a lot of the time when I perform solo, it's just like me and like an acoustic guitar at
Sure.
like coffee shop, like an open mic at a bar or whatever. A lot of like the actual gig stuff that I do is with some other bands that I'm in outside of my solo stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that because, like,
Hmm.
you're making music under this name, but you're also part of other projects.
Yeah.
And I've had these conversations before with artists in your same position where it's like, I have these ideas and I think that they're suited to whatever I want to do with my own name, but they don't fit to the
Hmm.
group.
Hmm.
How do you go about kind of like splitting up the creation process?
That's a good question. I don't know. Like there will be times when like I'm coming up with some song, a new project, a new album, whatever it is, and it'll just it's just like a feeling thing. Like it's
Yeah,
like feels like this feels like it should be with this group.
I
Like if I
understand
did it
that.
solo, it's like, but like it would get so much more flavor, so much more variety, like with this group, or like maybe vice versa, like more with
Sure.
me.
Right.
Um, so it's like just kind of a feeling out type of thing.
I get that. Listen, I
Mhm.
you don't have to answer this, but like in
Mhm.
a very selfish vein, have you ever been
Mhm.
in the situation where you're like, I got it. That's the idea,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna save it for myself instead of using it on
Oh
the
yeah,
group.
of course. I mean, yeah. I mean, like I got like yes and no. Like no, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't blame you.
100%.
Listen, I would do
Yeah,
the same. I would do the
yeah.
exact same. I think about like major bands that have these
Hmm.
smaller side projects and you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, I really enjoyed the main band's newest record, but whatever they're doing on the side project just
Hmm.
feels better. And I'm like, yeah, you're literally saving the good stuff
Hmm.
and
Yep.
being like, well, I think it fit better there. It's like, I don't know
Hmm.
about that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I
Hmm.
I have a couple more questions for you.
Yeah.
I want to know, we're nearing the end of September here.
Hmm.
Year is almost up. The record is slated for mid-October at this point.
Hmm.
Once the record releases, I know you're going to feel this like wash of joy over you.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
is there a plan for the rest of the year or at least to kick off 25?
Um, I mean, I have so much unreleased, unfinished projects just
Nice.
sitting here in my hard drive that are wanting to be finished and wanting to be shared. So there's a lot of options, in regards to like releasing original music. Um, I don't know though. I have some ideas of what I want to work on. Like there's a couple
Yeah,
albums that I've been playing around with solo wise, but then like there's a lot of other stuff coming up for different bands that I'm in. So it's hard to tell, just kind of
I
feeling it
understand.
out.
Yeah, totally get
Hmm.
it.
Yeah.
I guess the last thing here would be like, listen, people are going to listen to this record. Is there
Hmm.
something that you'd like to say to them to kind of prepare them before they listen for the first time?
Um, a good question. Um, I don't know. Like, I guess I don't know. Um, maybe just like I don't know. For me, it at one point it was hard to listen to. I feel like I had a very deep emotional connection to it,
Yeah.
and I would listen to it like when I had demos and stuff, front to back, and be like, Jesus, like a little heavy, you know. Um, I mean, now I can listen to it front to back, no problem, because I've heard it 8 million times. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It is an interesting journey, and I don't know, enjoy it, even if it is heavy, maybe if you get that. I don't know.
That's fine. Listen, and I would say
Hmm.
go in with an open mind. And
Yeah.
there's really something for everyone here. If
Hmm.
for any reason you don't like one song, chances are you're going to like something from the next. And
Hmm.
it's really just a record that I think deserves to be listened to from start to finish to kind of get the entire feeling of it. I know
Hmm.
so much of the music industry is like single, maybe
Right.
an album, but it's like the
Hmm.
album experience is such a specific art that it's
Hmm.
like you're getting into the person's head. And for me, like the most important thing is the track listing. It's
Yeah.
kind of just
Yeah.
like, how do I put together this narrative, or at least in sound and tone, that doesn't start off super high, but then brings you
Hmm.
down and then kind of like rides the wave. And
Yeah.
it's just super important.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Nice. Alix, listen, I want to thank you so much for taking the time. Before we wrap up here, I really want to plug
Mhm.
this record for everyone out there.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, if you didn't know, I'm speaking with Alix Heffron. The record is called The Moon is Looking at Me. We will have the links as soon as everything goes live so you can listen, share, follow along. Obviously, stay tuned for more. This has been a labor of love, clearly, and I'm excited to
Hmm.
hear what else is in the works. I will be listening closely.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
You're very welcome. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I hope to speak soon.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. You too.
Awesome. Take care, Alex.
All
See
right.
you
See ya.
later. Bye bye.